Mic check. Stream mic check. How do you do? There are at least 2 bottles of water on the table, maybe more than 3. All right.
Commissioner Jesse Jackson. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll ask everybody to please stand, join us in the pledge and prayer. Mike?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God, thank you, therefore, Lord, thank you for your safety. That's a blessing on everyone here, Lord. It's a blessing on our council. You give me your wisdom. You can bring your knowledge, Lord. You bring your experience, Lord, so they can continue to prosper the city. I also ask a special blessing on those in our group that may have lost a loved one recently, Lord, that you would bring comfort to them and peace. Please I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Citizen participation. Okay, we have 5 community members. Before I call you up to give you your 3 minutes, there's some guidelines that I need to read first. Welcome to the City Council meeting of Donna. Your City Council welcomes all citizens to attend our public meetings. The City Council is interested in your ideas and concerns to better serve you. Citizens may address the council in open forum by adhering to the following guidelines. Number 1, speakers must sign in with the city secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Number 2, presentations will be limited to 3 minutes. 3, please state your full name and city of residence. Address your concerns directly to the mayor, presiding officer from the speaker's podium. 4, pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Law, the council may not discuss any item not posted on the agenda. Accordingly, only agenda items will be the subject of public comment. Citizens wishing to address issues or items of public concern not on the agenda are requested to address their concerns with administration for appropriate action, which may include placing the item on the agenda for a future meeting if deemed necessary to properly address your concerns. Number 5, the same decorum expected of council members shall be expected from speakers at public comment. Accordingly, profanity, obscenities, personal insults, and statements of like nature will not be tolerated, and the speaker will be asked by the mayor, presiding officer, to leave the podium. Number 6, council members will not reply directly to your comments or engage in personal dialogue, but will take your concerns for consideration and or possible action as may be deemed appropriate. Thank you for the privilege of serving you. First, we have Alan Williams from Region 1.
He's on an agenda.
Yeah.
There's an agenda item.
Okay, so-
Yeah, I apologize, yeah, so
Yeah.
the
Well,
confusion.
now you have to speak for 3 minutes. So. I'm joking.
Compliments welcome.
All right, Mr. Abel Flores. Sir, as I mentioned, you have 3 minutes. I'll raise my hand, give you a 1 minute time limit. Go ahead, sir.
All right, on number 7, that's a good idea compared to everything else that's been in the past. So bravo there. And I keep hearing about trying to save money from different outlets of the city, but yet, you know, talks like sponsorship on number 8 are being discussed. I don't understand how trying to save the money for the taxpayers or what's the word I'm looking for?
This is the track record. Used to be TV for
Trips. I forgot what they're called, but trips to other places. But man, sponsorships, I understand that it's great to do, but when you guys are trying to take away money from different parts of departments for the city, I mean, it's very transparent. It really is. And a lot of people are sick of it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Raquel Martinez. Again, ma'am, 3 minutes. I'll raise my hand when you
Yes,
have 1
ma'am,
minute.
and I would appreciate not being interrupted.
Go ahead.
Since the agenda is about buying items and proposals, I venture to say it's all about the budget. So let's talk about the budget. My understanding is that the city is 1.4 million in the red. How did the city get into this mess? The interim city manager has asked departments to cut employees, yet he himself has fired several employees. Yet he has managed to keep his contract with the city, his business contract with the city, which is against the city charter, and has been paid to date $170,000. He has hired people filming the meeting, and I don't have that information yet because they said there was no such information. So as far as we know, he says that they're not getting paid, which I truly do not believe, because nobody does nothing for free. He has he has brought in a person for public utilities that was supposedly fired from the city of Mercedes. That's interesting. And supposedly this guy's licenses are expired, so that's kind of concerning. He has hired a chief of operations, a made-up position, just like at the school, since the city or the school has never needed one, that position. So I don't know how that position got proposed or who made that decision, but that's, at $110,000, that's very, very questionable. So by hiring these people, how are you saving money? Because the city of Donna, because let me say something, I don't get anything from this city that I don't pay for, nothing. I pay for water, I pay for trash, I pay for police, I pay for fire department. Everything we get, we pay for. These are our monies, and we should have a say-so as to who's managing our money. We get to vote you in, you all voted him in, you all need to do something, each and every one of you. Because this is not fair that all of this is going on. Our police department is compromised because they cut people from the police department. You're buying vehicles, you're doing all of this, yet there's no money. You can't pay for that property you bought across the cemetery. That's a lot of money, $1.4 million for people to be in the red. That's a lot of money, okay? The city of Donna seems to be taking place from the Trump Project 2025 playbook. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is Mr. Jacob Espinosa? No? Mr. Juan Espinosa? Okay.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Sign for the meeting, like a roll call.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to consent agenda. Council, you have one item agenda on there, to approval of city council meeting minutes.
We're gonna table that, Mayor, for now. The minutes aren't entirely ready.
Okay.
Yeah, table one.
You got a recommendation to table? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Lugo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Regular items, number 2. Mr. Peña?
Yes, Mayor, there's 2 vacancies. These are alternates for the planning and zoning.
Number 2, swearing in of Donna International Bridge Corporation Board Member, Mr. Juan Espinosa.
We're gonna move that one for a little later, Mayor, only because I believe Judge Sines is not here yet. He'll be doing the swearing, if it's okay.
Okay, council, we can come back to it. as soon
Just a
as-
motion to take it out of order, and when Judge Sines get here, we can call it at that time.
Okay, we need a motion to take number 2 out of order. We have a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 3, discussion possible action on appointing 2 alternates for the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill vacancies. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir. Mayor, council, I believe there's 2 alternate positions that have not been filled. With this last appointment of members for the planning and zoning, we had a meeting that wasn't able to happen. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum, so I decided to put this on here for y'all's consideration to appoint 2 members as alternates to the planning and zoning committee.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Gabriel Osuna and Jesse Rivera for the alternates for the planning and zoning. Can we do both at the same time, one at a time, or
You can do them both at the same time. What were the names again?
Gabriel Osuna and Jesse Rivera?
I have one also. Do we entertain it?
So,
Separate motion or is it?
so I guess in light of that, then we can do one at a time? So, Councilman Garza, if you could just do, you can make a motion to do one name at a time and then till we fill up both vacancies.
Okay, I'll go ahead and nominate Gabriel Osuna for the first alternate.
Second?
We have a motion for Gabriel Osuna. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We have or anybody else need another motion?
It's
For
gonna be
nomination?
next- Yeah, for next nomination.
Yeah, I'd like to motion to nominate Randy Poirier. It's Poirier.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
What's the name again?
Randy Poirier?
Yeah.
How do you spell his last name?
Poirier.
P-O-I.
Go to number 4, discussion possible action on work authorization number 1 for S2 engineering for the North Donna Hike and Bike Trail. Mr. Peña?
The engineers aren't here, Mayor, so we're gonna ask that we table it. There were some questions regarding the construction cost estimate that I think needs to be discussed a little bit further. With your permission, the council permission, I'd like to table this to have the engineers present.
Get a recommendation to table. Do we have a motion?
Motion table.
Motion to table by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 5, discussion possible action on the utility customer account adjustments. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir, there was 2 misreadings, and I think this is becoming a recurrent problem due to the communication upgrades that we need to do. But here we have 2, one for 221.56 and 244.92. These transactions will be reversed back to the customer. Total is $466.48.
Any questions by council? If not, I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Got a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 6, discussion possible action on the Cruces y Puentes Internacionales S.A., the CV Renewal Service Agreement. Mr. Peña?
Mayor, Council, we have Mr. De La Fuente. Mr. La Fuente, would you like to take the podium really quick? So, as I've taken my seat here as the interim, it's come to my understanding that Mr. La Fuente is our Mexican consultant on the Mexican side. I asked him to come over. I guess his contract is up for renewal every 6 months. It just landed. And again, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for Mr. La Fuente to give us an update on what's currently happening. And then, again, the council has the agreement for consideration.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the progress in the Mexican side of my national project. So in the Mexican side, we have a technical group that we meet every 15 days. This technical group, there are federal agencies like the Secretaría de Infraestructura y Comunicaciones y Transportes, and there is also the Customs, el área de aduanas, y la Secretaría de Relaciones Exteriores. And then for the state of Tamaulipas, there is the Secretaría de Infraestructura y Secretaría de Finanzas. So we meet every 15 days, and then until this time, we have been meet 98 times for this project. So what we did in this project first was the completion of the executive project. So the executive project is already in the Mexican side, is ready for the bidding. So then we have the authorizations of the several agencies of the federal government. So this is done. And then we already sent 3 diplomatic notes in different times of the process, and we present this project in 4 binational meetings where all the federal agencies of the United States and the federal agencies of Mexico, they evaluate our project. of that. And then we have a participation in the meeting of DAP with the Customs and Border Protections. So we have every 3 weeks, and then we present them the progress in the Mexican side that they know, and we can see the progress in the U.S. and the Mexican side in this meeting. And then what we did was that the crossing of the empty trucks in the bridge. So then the March 27th crossed the first truck there. So this is what they did in the past. And now, what we are working now is in the financing issues in the Mexican side. So the concessionary of this bridge is the state of Tamaulipas. And the state of Tamaulipas is going to hire a consultant that he's going to do the study in order to get the credit for a government bank. So then what we are waiting is for the bidding of this and the hiring of this consultant that probably is going to be in the next 2 weeks. And then in the last meeting that we had last week, Aduanas of Mexico told us that they are going to consider the old equipment for this project in the budget of this agency for that. And then we have the opening ceremony of the crossing of empty trucks of Mexico, so it have to be an agreement between the city of Donna and the state of Tamaulipas. And we are asking to send in a diplomatic note from the United States to Mexico in order to push the project with the state of Tamaulipas. So the state of Tamaulipas, they asked us for this diplomatic note because in that way they get this priority in the government of the Tamaulipas or project. So the writing of the diplomatic note is already sent, so it's just to determine the date that we are going to send that diplomatic note. And then we were talking about the crossing of the hydrocarbons trucks in the bridge and to begin to work in that. So the step that we are now is that we have a letter that is going to be signed by the mayor and to send to the customs in Mexico, to the federal agency, and then to begin the process of that. And then what is going to happen in the future is the legal and financial study that I already mentioned, and then the modifications of the concession of the bridge in the Mexican side, then a request of the allocation of the credit for the works there, there's the tendering of the works, and then start the construction, and then the completion of the works. So the difficult part here is that you have, at the end, the finish of the United States side and the Mexican side. So we already have a schedule for that, and we are thinking that probably we can finish in August 2026. No, so but this is the difficult part in the binational projects, and that's it. So, any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. Lafuente.
You're welcome.
So we've been working great with Mr. Lafuente, Mayor, Council. We have our bi-weekly updates with GSA and just about every player that's involved with this project. Again, this is the first time I meet Mr. Lafuente in person. I do look forward to having a Mexican-American meeting where we invite some of the elected officials from that side. Either we go to them or they come to us, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity for him to come out here and give us an update himself, at least to the council and mayor. Me and Maricela, we're very fortunate that we talk to him quite a bit every other week. But if there's any questions to ask, gentlemen, he's here. If not, his renewal, agreement for renewal is up for
Okay.
your consideration and approval.
Marisela, do you have any concerns with anything?
No,
I know that
actually-
you've worked,
Yes, we
with
work
this?
hand in hand with Dr. De La Fuentes and Cruces and Puentes for some time now. He's very vital to the actual project. He's brought a lot to the table. Again, he does represent us as a city on the Mexican side. He brings all stakeholders together. He provides us our daily and our monthly reports.
okay,
So, I mean, like I said, he's been very instrumental to the
okay.
project.
I did notice in the, I guess, the agreement that if we approve or not approve, but he's providing those reports to us?
Yes.
In a timely manner?
Correct.
Are we gonna be able to hear it every time that he provides that report, or?
Sure, we can go ahead and submit
Be
them
able
over.
to,
What was that, Councilman?
that report that he's gonna provide every, whatever it is, I think 2 or
Correct.
3 times?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, sir, we
Are
get
we gonna
those
bring it to the
frequently. Yes,
council
sir.
and make sure that we see the report?
Ye-
and
yes,
be
sir,
able
Yes,
to-
absolutely. We'll
Okay.
forward them over.
Yes, sir,
That's good.
Councilman, Mayor, one of the things that we've done and put in place, that was partially being done is deliverables with every invoice.
Okay,
And that goes for everybody, you know, there has to be,
yeah,
you know, a service there, right? So Mr. La Fuente's been doing that since he started. Very detailed report with times and dates on who he's communicating with. So there's activity, yes, sir, for you.
yeah, and the only reason I question it, sir, is because this is the first time that I've met you or seen you here. So that's the only reason, and I know that you've worked with him before, and
Yes.
I want to make sure that we're getting what is due to us as a city.
Oh,
Okay?
yes, absolutely.
I want to just add to that as well. I shared some of the same concerns. I know we've had Dr. De La Fuentes for quite a while, on and off. I think he's been helpful overall, but just for consideration, so you do recommend his services on to continue with the services?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. So in your opinion, we're better off using them and keeping them, right, for what reasons? To try to increase the traffic or the northbound, southbound empties, or what?
Well, it's gonna be the project in whole, because remember, there was a project our first phase was the southbound. So once again, some of the actual deliverables and the work that he's done is actually the exchange of the diplomatic notes, which are very key, because again, it's both countries coming to the agreement. He brought the actual southbound to the table, that's why we were able to open the southbound early. And now, of course, the next phase is gonna be the northbound expansion. So,
Okay.
once again.
Could he, I kind of read the contract real quick, but, well, do you think you could also help us as far as generate more empties going southbound and generate more commercial revenue at this time?
Yes, once again, with the actual project itself, once that project is completed, then of course that's gonna be instrumental as well. So that's
So-
one of the actual key things that we actually focus
But
on as well.
in the
just
interim,
in-
before the project is completed, would he be helpful in trying to generate more traffic? Because their numbers are still kind of low.
Correct.
Um,
Once again, on
Of
the,
course, the construction isn't complete, so they're low for that reason, but
Right.
would he be able to help us increase those numbers at all?
sure, I'm pretty confident that he would be able to.
Could probably ask him.
You want to take the stand really quick, sir? Thank you.
Yeah, this is why we were talking about the hydrocarbons trucks. So because there are some companies that they are interested into crossing this kind of cargo through this bridge, because mainly they cross in Los Tomates, and so then they want to cross now in Los Indios and in Donna. So we are going to begin to work with customs and to follow the process of that. So then this is one of the possibilities. No?
Thank you.
And to add to that, Councilmember, so he is working right now on a hazmat permit. As a matter of fact, earlier we had a company come over and talk to us about fuel transport. Very interesting, right? How they're choosing Donna as a place to cross, but nonetheless, that requires a hazmat permit that both countries are working simultaneously. Once that goes through, maybe within the next year or so, matter of fact, the guy was ready to sign a lease today for some property. I might say, well, what's it gonna be for you? I said, this is prime property, man. I wanna lock it down. I said, because it's true. I said, and they wanna move gas, very interesting business model. They transport fuel to the bridge. The Mexican trucks cross over. They transfer the fuel over to their trucks, or what they call pipas. I learned that today. And then they transport back. So, again, they're starting with 50 trucks. They're saying in Los Indios, they're transporting, they're crossing about 450 trucks a day. So the potential is there. So, yes, Councilmember, Mayor, is he instrumental? I see it. Again, it's work in progress. It's all based on the ability, and not the ability, but I guess the things that we can cross over, you know. And right now, hazmat is one. Obviously, dry goods. And as the project develops, we'll be working on wet goods, which is cold storage. Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate your work with being a liaison on our part over there with the Mexican authorities. I'll ask this question, Mr. Peña. What are we doing on our part to go out there, like Commissioner Lugo was mentioning? I don't think we should leave it up to Dr. La Fuente to do all the work. I think it's up to us as well to go out there. I know we've had meetings before with truck business owners from over there. I think we need to have more of those meetings. So, look into that, see what we can do on our part.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. And let me brief you. I had the pleasure of meeting I think it's Brian Godinez and Tony Godinez. They're cousins. One of them is an architect. The other one owns a cold storage facility right off of Gully Road. As a matter of fact, he's getting ready to double the capacity of that from 125,000 square foot to 250,000 square foot. But to answer your question, Mayor, you're absolutely correct. Mr. Godinez has now entered into an MOU with the gentleman that owns the majority of the property around the bridge, Mr. Rhodes. And there's preliminary discussions that Mr. Councilmember Garza was part of, where Mr. Godinez, the architect, along with Mr. Rhodes, are working with Mexican realtors and Mexican developers and businesses so that we see development not just on the U.S. side, but simultaneously on the Mexican side. So yes, sir, there is initiatives in place that they're getting ready to kick in gear, so that we can kind of see as the bridge develops. I think the understanding is both countries are going to have a plan in place for some type of growth when it comes to industrial and commercial. So yes, sir, there is some initiatives there that are taking place.
Good.
Just wanted to add, Commissioner Lugo, on the fourth page, second bullet, that would be the description. There's a little summary there on what's currently being worked on in reference to Mr. Peña just mentioned.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I saw that. Thank you.
This is an action item. Any other questions? If not, I need a motion.
I'd like to motion to approve pending legal review.
We got a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Before we go on to number 7, we're going to go back to number 2. We have the privilege of having Justice of the Peace, Judge Sines, here with us to take care of number 2. Number 2 is swearing in of Donna International Bridge Corporation Board Member, Mr. Juan Espinosa.
Bueno, join us, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Will you do it up here? Do it up here? Do it right there.
Thank you.
How are we doing, Judge?
Judge.
go to item number 7, discussion possible action on authorizing the surplus of old vehicles and use the proceeds towards the purchase for a new K-9 patrol vehicle. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir, Chief Guerrero. We'll give a quick presentation on that.
Mayor, Commissioners, we have a total of about 8 cars that we have decommissioned, and we have them there sitting in the parking lot. We have no room, we need to get rid of them. I do have a need for a K-9 unit, so I have 2 other vehicles that are under asset forfeiture that are about to be awarded to me, so I'm gonna combine, ended up paying for it with asset forfeiture money, all of it, so that's what I'm trying to do.
Question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm not familiar with the process, but do you put them up for auction, for bid? How's that work?
What we do, we take them to the auction here, and I take off the lights, everything that has to do with the police, and they'll sell them for us. They'll do everything for us. I just collect the check.
Thanks.
Any questions?
A motion to approve?
Thank you, Chief. We got a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 8, discussion possible action on sponsorship for the sixth annual Donna ISD Superintendent Student Scholarship Golf Tournament. Mr. Peña?
Mayor, Council, yes, sir, there was an invite, 6th annual Donna ISD Superintendent Student Scholarship. I ran a report over the last 5 years. 2020, 2012, we did not contribute. 2019, we did 5,000, but, and in, 2019, I think we did 10,000, but it was from the 4A, 4B, EDC. 2023, we did 5,000 from the city, and in 2024, we did 1,500 from the city. I don't know for sure if this is an item that's budgeted, but I know that we do have a line item in our budget for expenses like this. Again, it came to our office, thought I put on the agenda for consideration approval, being that there is history of us participating with Donna ISD. You can set the amount, if you so choose to, Mayor, to participate. And obviously,
So what do you recommend, Mr. Peña?
Sir, the only thing I can recommend is that we follow what's been done previously. We've done 1,500, but we've also done 5,000, and at some time, we did 10,000 out of the EDC, sir, so it's really what the council would like to do.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to do the silver sponsorship for 1,500. That's what we did last year.
I'd like to, I know there's a motion on the floor, but just a comment. $1,500 is probably more reasonable. I'm also feel very conservative about our money at this point, especially if there's a possible deficit, so we need to be careful about, how we're gonna spend our money. There's no way I would approve $5,000 or $10,000. That's way too much. We donate to the scholarship as well. There's families that donate to scholarships. There's a superintendent scholarship fund. I'm not too familiar with it. I'm assuming it's an additional way of trying to raise money for scholarships, perhaps. But anyway, with that said, I think $1,500 is probably reasonable, and I'll support that as well. So I'll second that motion.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Garza for 1,500. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second
That was second by Commissioner Lugo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 9, discussion possible action on resolution 2025-08, amendment resolution for grant number 23-152-005-E156. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir, this is regarding the urban county projects. We discussed in the previous meeting, giving an update on the actual plan, but now we have to pass a resolution for this, or amend the resolution, because we amended the plan.
correction, sir. Yeah, I gave you the wrong info. This is regarding, this is the GLO grant for the lift stations, the generator, the power backups on there. I apologize about that.
It's an amendment, is what you're
Yes,
saying,
sir.
right? Yeah, so.
Yes, sir. This is the one that we awarded to Go Underground for the 5 lift stations, and we're gonna come back and do an amendment to their work, so, yes, sir.
What
This
does
is-
the amendment entail? Was there like a credit or something? I believe last time we kind of spoke about it.
No, sir, so, because the project incorporated, well, we had the funding for 6 lift stations. One of them was not environmentally cleared, so we had to approve the 5, which is the 700 and something thousand. I have to come back, so the first process for that is to amend the actual resolution to incorporate that new project with the updated environmental. After that, we obviously send it up.
For bid?
No, it's already been
approval.
awarded.
It's already been
Yeah,
awarded.
they just need to recognize up in the general land office. Once they approve it, we can come back and, again, amend, or in this case, it would be considered a change order for the additional lift station. Again, the entire project was bid
And
as
no-
one.
No additional charge, right? on
No,
the-
sir, no, everything, the Go Underground's been awarded, but because of the environmental clearance, we had to go through this process. We weren't able to award all 6 lift stations at the same time. So we could only do 5, amend the resolution, send it up to GLO, they give us the approval. Then the next item that you'll see will be the Go Underground contract for a change order, but again, I'm very hesitant on change order, because it should have been from the get-go.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I need a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lugo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. 10, discussion possible action on resolution 2025-09, updating City of Donna point of contact for the Texas Water Development Board. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir. So this one had to be updated to include the interim city manager. In my case, if you look at the resolution, it'll name me as the official point of contact for Texas Water Development Board.
I need a motion.
A motion to approve?
Got a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 11, discussion possible action to award RFB number 2025-001 to Agua Works Pipe and Supply for 18-inch RCP, 24-inch RCP, 15-inch HP, gray and black pipe, and 18-inch HP gray and black drainage pipe. Mr. Peña?
Yes, Mayor, Council, as a matter of fact, if you look at item number 11 through, I believe, 18, we had gone out for, we advertised and we requested proposals. We received them. We went ahead and selected the 2 lowest vendors by product, and that's what we're doing. We're just accepting the bids. Again, Mayor, Council, with efforts to kind of save money, we're advertising, getting the best, lowest price. So that way we have at least a vendor or 2 throughout the year that we can order from at a secure price, right? In this case, we're getting ready to go into construction for Hester, or we already started construction. But the majority of the product are these pipes right here. So you'll see items 11 through 19, or I'm sorry, 18 as awards.
The question I have is,
Yes, sir.
some of those vendors have the same bidded price. Who decides and who gets what? Like, if you look at,
We can do, if it's the same price, council member, we can just
'cause there's
rotation.
several.
We'll order one, we'll order the second one, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, there's several, items that are bidded at the same price, but 2 different vendors. So how do we
Yes.
decide that? Just like,
It's just, number 1, we go with the lowest vendor. In this case, you have 2 that have the same price.
okay,
So it's just rotation. You'll use one, and the next purchase use the other one.
and who's keeping rotation?
We'll keep internally, sir.
Okay.
I can't tell you that if that's been done like that in the past, but I will tell you that while I'm here, we'll do it on, again, The reason we got two vendors is in case one can't provide for us, we jump to over the second lowest
Yeah.
vendor. Worst case scenario, then we have to go out and look for additional vendors.
Sure.
But at that point, you gotta get three proposals.
Yeah, I just wanted an answer to that because I don't know. And if you're stating there's a rotation, okay, who keeps rotations?
Yes, sir.
And make sure that we keep them. Because a lot of times I've heard of different, like you say, you haven't been here very long, I haven't either, but we hear things and make sure that they're rotated in there. If that's the case, and make sure that we document that.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Because our constituents ask us and we need to be able to answer those questions.
Yes, Councilmember, again, the first choice would always be the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
If we can't, for some reason that vendor doesn't have the supply, they're not able to service us, again, it also depends on how soon we need the material, we'll jump over to the second one. In this case, Councilmember, again, I wanna be clear about this, I am not aware of a process currently in place where we rotate.
Okay.
However, while I'm here, we will have a rotation when it comes to vendors that have both the lowest price.
Okay.
And we'll be more than happy to keep track of that.
And obviously, these vendors have already submitted all their paperwork, conflict of interest, anything like that?
I believe everything was part of the package. There was a bid opening that was handled by the office. Marisela was there, I believe Ms. Tosca was there. They opened the bids, they
Okay.
did a matrix with the price, and then they select. Again,
Okay.
they bring this to us.
Mhm.
They vet the process, make sure that everything's good. But yes, Commissioner,
Okay.
once we select, we're going to bring it back, because we're going to create a
Yes.
contract with terms and conditions,
Mhm.
bring it back to council for approval. We'll send it back. Traditionally, at least what we've seen is a one-year contract with an option to extend for one, is what we're
Okay.
pushing. Again, the idea here is to lock the price at the lowest affordable
Mhm.
price, so that year-round, we don't have to go around asking for different bids
Mhm.
from different people, right? And it's usually the same people that we ask bids from.
Okay.
So-
And these individuals that you mentioned, they're usually the ones that open these bids all the time?
It's the office, yes, sir, for the
Okay.
most part.
Okay.
It's,
I
again,
just
it's to
wanted-
my knowledge that they.
It's always been done that way.
Has it always been like that? I'm not sure, but while I've been here, Ms. Tosca, Marisela, where's Ms. Marisela? Right, who else attends those? Norma Yanis, our secretary? Ms. that's right, a representative from the actual department.
From the actual department?
Yeah, so like in
Okay.
this case, this is a public works.
Okay,
Whenever we advertise for anything that maybe belongs to IT, it'll be like Mike,
Mike,
our IT.
okay,
If it's something regarding utilities, then it'll be Ms. Janey.
okay,
That's,
all right.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to add, you mentioned, Councilman Moreno mentioned something about making sure they were properly vetted. We're talking about the companies. Do we go as far as checking their corporate identity, whether it's an LLC or, or a corporation, to see if they're in good legal standings with the controller's office? And do we go that far as checking to make sure that we're dealing with a company that's going to be solvent? You'd be surprised what you can find when you do a search, and you see where the officers are, and you can find if there's any other conflicts or if they're associated with other bids. Historically, there have been times when you'll have the same corporation with different DBAs, and they're trying to come across as two different companies, but they're sister companies, so I think you really need to pay attention to that.
That's why I asked on the conflicts also.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents worth.
Now, do you have a procedure that is in place then? Mr. Lugo, Councilman Lugo has mentioned that. I call it a procedure that you follow. Obviously, with the answer that was given right now, there's no procedure in place there. Something like that Councilman Lugo has asked. So
Mayor,
I think we need to set procedures on how we need to do that and how far back we're going to research some of these companies. Yeah. Mhm.
Mayor, council member, I'm glad you brought that up because that is something that we're working on. And I say working on because I have found since being here some concerning issues with procurement and purchasing, but I also recognize that we don't have a purchasing agent and or buyer. Recently, I oversee every transaction to make sure that what we're purchasing is in line with, what makes sense. I recognize that. There is a procurement procedure policy in place. but it doesn't go into detail as far as like researching corporations, stuff like that. But nonetheless, with something we can incorporate, it's something I am working with the accounting department on reassigning some duties and implementing a purchasing agent along with a buyer, so that we have a little bit more direct involvement in vetting the process. Yes, Councilman, Mayor, that's something we are looking into, working on. Any other questions, comments? If not, I need a motion. That's item 11. Item 11.
I motion to approve item number 11.
Get a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 12, discussion possible action to award RFB number 2025-001 to Kappa DBA Rio Valley Pipe for 15-inch RC pipe. Mr. Peña. Again, no different than the previous item, Mayor, council member. These are all bids that were received. They were all opened, vetted to a certain extent, and they're here for your consideration and approval, sir. Gentlemen.
Quick question on that one also. I noticed on this one, there's one vendor, only one that that submitted a bid. The other two vendors did not for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. You see what I'm looking at here? There's, it says NB, I don't know what that means.
On the bid tabulation?
Yeah. These two. So you have three vendors, but you only have one bid. So the company that we're selecting, I think they're reputable. I've seen them everywhere. But when you only have one bid instead of more than, let's say, three, do you make sure that they're part of either buy board or part of a TML or I think this TIF, or I don't know, there's another vetting, organization. In this case, would they be part of one of those vetting companies like the buy board?
Yes, there are.
They are?
Yes, because they're the only sole source company there.
Okay, so in
They
this,
sell this company here and that.
in this case, this particular company has met the sole source requirements?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember, I want to be clear. This was advertised, so it was based on lowest bidder. What you're referencing, Councilmember Mayor, that is whenever we want to not avoid, but whenever we need to purchase something and you don't have the time for procurement or advertisement, you go and you use what's called a cooperative board. And these are vendors that have been pre-approved and vetted through nonprofit organizations, and they help fast track. Again, this is why these nonprofits like TIPS, Buy Board, and there's a whole bunch of them in the state of Texas, right, nationwide. In this case, this process wasn't based on sole source. This is not a sole source item, even though they are a major supplier. What you're asking for is for cement pipes and HPV, which is plastic pipes, right? Why one vendor or two submitted? Maybe because they do have that in inventory and they're willing to supply us. Why the other vendor didn't? Maybe because they don't carry that. But I want to be clear, this was advertised publicly. This is advertised to get the lowest, most best competitive price. Had we not gone this route, we would look into the buy board, TIPS, or whatever cooperative. We would look at that supply, look to see the contract number, and then from there, that would tell us who is part of that contract, right? So yes, they are sole source to an extent, but this is not the process that we followed. We advertised publicly, and we accepted bids, and this is what we have, sir. In this case, we only have one vendor. We could reject and re-advertise. I'm not sure if we'll get additional vendors.
Yeah.
But this is what people that,
Yeah, that was my question. In this case, you only have one, but they are part of one of those vetting.
just an added plus.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Questions, Mayor? Questions, comments? If not, I need a motion for number 12.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 13, discussion possible action to award RFB number 2025-002 to E&V Logistics for Caliche and Sand. Mr. Peña? Yes, sir. No different than the previous material. If you look at tab 14, you'll see all the different vendors that applied and provided a bid. We have two. One of them's at 14, the other one's at 19 per
flex space at Caliche and the sand.
Okay, there's one highlighted vendor, but they have the same price as the other one.
These two are identical.
Frontera and EV Logistics. There's only one
Yeah,
highlighted,
we-
yet they have the same price.
EV Logistics. Yeah. Now, the idea here was to recommend the two lowest bidders, correct? Yeah, but the agenda item doesn't read that. Just reads one. But Councilmember,
Well, the way you said, we could go on rotation, you know, get from one, then get from the other.
yes, sir, but I want to make sure we're clear, Council, or Dennis,
Yes,
that we can select,
you,
okay,
you can.
yes, sir. The two lowest, in this case, again, Council Moreno, we would do a rotation.
Okay.
Okay.
Need a motion for 13?
So move.
A motion by Commissioner Lugo, do we have second?
Second, to include Frontera Materials as well.
You got a second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 14, discussion possible action to award RFP number 2025-002 to Frontera Materials for caliche and sand as a secondary vendor. So there it is.
Yeah, it's the same, yeah.
Same, yeah.
They split, yeah.
So that's just in the event that the first vendor can't come through for whatever reason, or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
We have motion for 14.
I make a motion to approve both lowest bidders.
Get a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 15, discussion possible action to award RFP number 2025-002 to Sinolo Materials LLC for 4,000 PSI concrete. Mr. Peña?
Council, can we do 15 and 16, because they're both, or do you want to do individually? It's the same material, it's just the two vendors that we're going to select.
You just do each one individually.
Okay.
Just-
So, Sinalo Materials, we look at your tab 16, sir?
15.
We're on 15.
Second page.
15, okay. Two tabs. We have, is it Frontera Materials?
I don't see that one on.
Sinolo.
No.
I don't have that one on.
Yeah.
No. Sonoma Materials LLC.
Do you have it?
Nope.
Is that on the second page?
It should have been here, sir, but for some reason,
The second page of 15.
Oh, there's
no,
a
it's
second
the
page
second
to it. And a third
Second page of 15.
Also, you're on the page. that
there's
you
two
made.
pages. It was stuck yesterday. Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yes, sir. We don't have that on yours. It's highlighted on yours?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, this is for concrete. We don't use a whole lot of concrete. Lately, we used, like, we had a concrete project with Midway, but we are gonna be using concrete for the Hester. There's a long sidewalk that runs for almost a mile. So here you have two vendors, sir. The first one is Sinolo.
Mm-hmm.
And we got them at 135
Okay.
per yard.
Need a motion on 15?
I move the motion.
Get a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 16, discussion possible action to award RFP number 2025-002 to BMK Concrete for 4,000 PSI concrete as a secondary vendor. Peña?
If you look at your tab, yes, sir, thank you, Mayor. Tab 16. 16, yeah, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you'll see it highlighted, sir. We got this one at 143. Just a slight increase from the previous one. So the lowest bidder was actually 135,
Yeah.
which is Sinolo, and your second lowest bidder was BMK at 143. So in this one, Councilmember Moreno,
Yes.
we'll be selecting, we'll be going like for rotation, we'll do Sinolo. If for some reason Sinolo doesn't have the product, is not able to provide to us, if it's a timing issue, again, we try to pre-plan as much as we can ahead of time.
And only if it doesn't have the product, right?
Only if we can,
Because
yes, sir.
It
Yes,
is
sir.
higher.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
The rotation doesn't apply to.
No.
You're still assuming you're going with the lowest bidder always,
Exactly.
right? But if the bid bids are the same, that's when you rotate.
Yes, sir.
This one, okay.
Yes, sir. In this case, they're not the same,
Yeah.
but we don't want to be held to just one supplier,
Yes.
so we added a second one, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Need a motion for 16?
So moved.
Need a motion by Commissioner Garza, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lugo, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 17, discussion and possible action on award RFP number 2025-002 to Roberto Eliseche for SS1 oil base. Mr. Peña?
Yes, sir, no different, the previous items, we advertised, and we are selecting the two lowest individuals. In this case, we have Mr. Roberto Licencia for the SS1 oil. That's the oil that we use for like overlays, road construction, stuff like that. Currently, we got Mary Circle that we've just added oil to. We're hopeful that we're gonna pave tomorrow, unfortunately, because of the weather, we're not. In this case, let me see, tab 17.
It's on page 3.
Yeah, well, they were the only vendors, is that right? They're the only ones that,
Yeah, we got Sinolo and
Sinolo had
Sinolo at
$9.
and Roberto at 875.
yeah, that's right. Lo tienen broken down by tabs, that's right. Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork. Yeah.
Need a motion for 17?
Motion to approve?
Got a motion by Commissioner Lugo, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 18, discussion possible action to award RFP number 2025-002 to Sinolo Materials for SS1 oil base as a secondary vendor. Mr. Peña, 18?
Yes, sir. If you look at tab 18, is it the last page? Yeah. No, that's Robert Lucetti. So page.
Page 2.
Second page.
Second to the last page, yes, sir. We have him at,
$9.
was it 9?
Yes.
No, it's 5. We're getting this delivered, gallon sprayed. Think the one, Danny? It's 9? They sprayed for us? Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's a $9 one, sir.
Need a motion for 18?
I just wanted to add, Councilmember Moreno,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the lowest one, Mr. Liceche, was at 875.
Yes.
This other one's at 9.
Yes.
Again, we're always gonna go with the lowest one, even if it's 25 cents off.
Yes.
If for some reason Mr. Liceche doesn't have the product or unable to deliver, it's a timing issue, then we'll jump over worst case scenario with your second one, sir.
Need a motion for 18?
So moved.
Need a motion by Commissioner Garza, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lugo, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 19, discussion possible action on allowing staff to start the application process for the Texas A&M Forest Service Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program. Mr. Peña.
Yes, sir, Mr., yeah, you're up now. So, again, as I came in, I was made aware of the 70-acre property that we bought from Mr. Bell. Out of the 70 acres, 17 of them will be used for a cemetery phase 2. The rest is to be used for like, outdoors, forestry type of deal. And talking to Mr. Flores, who assists me in the EDC, made me aware of a Texas A&M grant, a forestry grant, and I think it's worth us at least discussing. And again, we invited Mr.
Good evening. My name's Alan Williams, Mayor, City Council members. I am the Educational Habitat, Landscaping, and Gardens Director for Region 1. So my main objectives are to increase outdoor learning for students. And you all may have heard about the Texas A&M Forest Service a year ago offered 5 schoolyard forest grants, which Donna was blessed to be one of those recipients in Stanky Elementary School. If this new administration doesn't completely halt things, we'll be getting that investment of trees on that campus as well as 7 other schools in Donna. So the next round of grants coming from the Texas A&M Forest Service, they did not have a schoolyard forest grant, They had 6 grants, and the category 6 that we're talking about tonight is the Community Greening Transformation Grant, which there will be 5 awards to the whole state. However, they are only eligible to a critical greening community, which Donna is a critical greening community, as well as 14 other cities within the RGV. So we have been proposing that, and this grant is for $2,375,000, and there are no in-kind matches to this grant. So as a kind of a kickstart to this new property that the city of Donna has purchased, to the conversations that I had been involved with was to develop an outdoor learning, kind of a nature center, to kind of follow in suit with McAllen and Quinta Mazatlan. There's the city of FAR has 30 acres that they've purchased off of Moore Road that they're planning to develop into a nature park. So this grant, the main components of this grant are to provide 10,000 trees to your community and to your residences. And so the other main objective for any cities that participates and agrees to it, that they have to show a policy improvement towards tree care for their city, for their communities. So it is going to be recommended and encouraged if we're going to partner and get this grant. The cities, Donna would be the primary partner, and we were going to offer this to several other cities, Mission being one, Mercedes being another. But the contingency would be, is that city willing to sign an MOU that identifies how the city is going to improve the planting of trees and the long-term care of trees. So this grant does require a 3-year management plan on how you are going to properly plant them, water them, care for them, and give recommendations or workshops on proper tree care going beyond the 3 years. So we came to Donna back in the mid-December, kind of discussed this opportunity. The original grant was due February the 14th. However, about February the 10th, we got a notification from the Texas A&M Forest Service that there was some difficulties with the program for people uploading their grant submissions, though they extended it to March 14th. So we have until March until this is due. At Region 1, my boss is telling me that they want to have the grant finished and hopefully submitted by the 27th of this month. We've pretty much written it all out. I think, Mr. Pena, I've sent a kind of a brief narrative of kind of the outline of how we see this partnership happening. So we very much at Region 1 would like to collaborate with the city of Donna on this grant, where the bulk of the resources would be going to Donna, but with the understanding, the clear understanding that Donna is going to need and be expected to sign an MOU identifying how you all would improve tree care, and basically the key word that they like to use is community forestry. And what does community forestry mean to us? And in the Valley, we really don't think of ourselves as having a forest. And so it's about awareness and education that every tree that we have in the Valley, especially the native trees, are very important and bring value and increase quality of life and increase economic incentives and opportunities for those communities that have those tree policies that are in there. So that's kind of a broad overview of it. I'd be happy to answer any more questions with it. But I will say on behalf of Dr. Daniel King, our Executive Director at Region 1, He is very determined to have Region 1 be a best practices center. And so a portion of these funds would be used for us at Region 1 to better promote community forestry throughout our 8 counties, and especially to the 15 cities within our 8 counties that are listed as critical greening communities.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
If you can kind of explain to the council, so this partnership with Region 1, do we need a grant writer for this, or would Region 1 serve as a grant writer?
We would serve as a grant writer. I mean, we have actively been writing it. I've been kind of communicating with Margaret Lopez back on the city. I know she'd been very busy doing audits for the city, but we have been collaborating. We've had some kind of continued meetings. I know I've sent some information to you, Mr. Pena, and to Mrs. Lopez, kind of giving that update. But no, the Region 1, we have pretty much written the grant. And it's, just so you all know, it was about a 2-month process. And it's a lot of logistics, a lot of communication within the different cities, trying to figure out and where we're going to get these 10,000 trees. And so the grant money will pay for 10,000 trees that would go into these cities that are listed as critical greening communities.
Is there a grant administration fee? And who-
There is, Region 1 will charge an indirect cost of 11.365%. Excuse me, I think it's 11.634%. I know I submitted that in the application. I fought for it being lower because I wanted all the monies or as much of the money to get into the ground and into the community, but they were very rigid and I was not going to be able to budge with that. But what I was able to do, if you read this grant, it does allow the indirect cost to be higher. So we were able to come in at our minimum indirect cost from Region 1. So we are, but that is a fee out of the $2,370,000.
Sir, if you save me the time of reaching for my calculator, how much is that?
You know, it's going to be about $237,000. It's substantial. But with that does all, it takes all the responsibility off of the city of Donna for doing any of the documentation on the POs, the requisitions, all the accountability that comes with a grant this size and meeting those government regulations.
Would the grant, would Region 1 stay with us for those 3 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
If
sir.
any documents, any reports need to be submitted and so forth?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a collaborative partnership with Donna being the lead city,
Okay.
getting the bulk of the benefits.
You emphasized twice the fact that we would have to have a 3-year management MOU. What does that consist of? And is that going to, say, for example, I mean, the care of the forestry and so forth, are we going to have to hire people to do that? Or
No, you would not have to hire people. It would be more of training of existing staff is our recommendation. We are going to, in the grant, we would hire a graduate from UTRGV that has gone through the agroecology program, that has extensive background, and that person would be assisting and also be a part of those trainings. There's going to be there's a training with the Native Plant Society of Texas on native landscape care that we would encourage. We have to offer that to, the way the grant is written, we're going to train 50 people over a 3-year period, and that would be paid for, which is about $210 per person to get that certification, to be certified by the Native Plant Society of Texas in landscape and native landscape care and maintenance, which would include trees.
Would that come from the grant?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yeah, the city would not have to pay for anything with this grant, but the city would be expected to to allocate and to identify what y'all's steps are gonna do, or what your steps are going to be, that will hopefully, after the 3 years of the grant, stay in place, that y'all continue with that tree care and hopefully have more tree planting campaigns to increase tree canopy in your city. So there is some good faith in the grant, but there is hope within the Texas A&M Forest Service that the cities are able to develop a plan beyond that 3 years.
The MOU will stipulate what the city of Donna is responsible for.
It would, yes, and that is completely up to you all as the city and the citizens to try to figure out, what would you all like to have? How would you all like that MOU to read? And we're happy to make recommendations. I know I've been working with Brad Benson, the Parks Director for the City of Mission. He's already been kind of talking with his city council about what they're going to do. They already had plans to expand a lot on their parks with getting in trees with irrigation. And so they're looking at how they're hopeful that they can actually increase their budget, not after the 3 years, that would bring in either additional staff to take care of the trees with landscaping, or it doesn't have to be an employee that the only thing they do is tree care, but it would be an employee that helped with the landscaping needs of the city and helped with the park care. And with the proposed nature park, there's going to need to be some guidance and maintenance and land stewardship that takes place on those grounds in order for the trees to have the greatest probability of growing and maximize your return on investment. I mean, if you planted a tree at your house, it needs a little bit of attention, especially in this crazy weather if it's not getting rain.
And that was my question, because with that attention comes manpower. We have to have somebody there. My question is, would we be able to, I don't know, in a sense, hire somebody?
Yes, we could.
From the grant, though.
We could. You sure could. And what I would recommend that we can do, maybe in the next couple of days, if we could kind of sit down and have that conversation, whether it's whoever you would like to kind of appoint to have that conversation. But that is an important part of the collaboration. But that most certainly is within the scope of the grant. And I would definitely recommend, I know I've given out several copies and the link to the grant, but read through that grant, because it's not very it's maybe 8 pages that really identifies what the expectations, the allowable cost and the unallowable cost are. But yes, I think the city would be able to hire a staff member with this grant money. But we would need to identify that was one of the objectives in the grant.
A couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So if we were to approve this tonight, we still have time to decide how we're going to deal with this MOU to see if it's going to fit our budget and whether we'll be able to maintain these trees for, say, 3 years to be compliant, right? Because we don't want this tree.
Yes, sir. At this point, our deadline for the final grant submission is March the 14th. So technically, if I go back to Region 1 and say, hey, we had this conversation tonight, you all are interested, but you wanted to kind of work out some other details, then we do have that time. But I would recommend that we try to do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, my only concern is, it's just like our mayor stated, we have to be certain that we're going to be able to maintain these trees and do our part. How many trees did you say?
Well, it's... what they call the deliverables are 10,000 trees. Now, this is not the way. I believe the information that I sent to Mr. Pena was that we would have 3,000 of the 10,000 would go into the nature center, and then there would be another 1,000 trees that you all would decide how many of those trees you want to go to the public. and how many, with Donna residents, and how many you want to go into other locations, other city parks, if you want any to go into it. You're not obligated to take that 1,000, but we do need to plan that out. We could have other cities that we can allocate those trees to. That's what we're trying to give the bulk to Donna, and then the next 4 cities between Mercedes, Mission, Edinburgh, and Weslaco.
Does there have to be all these trees? I mean, could we work
Yes,
with
sir.
a smaller budget?
It has to, this grant specifically is trying to introduce 10,000 trees into a grant project. And so it can be within the scope of any one of those critical greening communities. So which basically is from, if we go upriver coming down, we've got Laredo, we hit Mission, then we're in McAllen, PSJA, Donna, Mercedes, or Weslaco, Mercedes, and then through Harlingen, San Benito, Brownsville, and I missed Alton is listed as another critical greening community. But no, by all means, but you do, I mean, you do not have to, even if you felt like 3,000 trees was too much to handle, you wouldn't have to take 3,000. I think that 56 acres, I think it could absorb 3,000 trees pretty easily. And I think that could kind of be the foundation and the way to fund the beginning of that nature park. And there's been discussion with Dr. Dominguez, the superintendent of Donna, that she is very interested in having some collaborative work with students. And those students are within this grant. One of the ideas was that you would have kind of a natural resources class in high school with the ag program that exposed the opportunity that Texas or UTRGV and the whole agroecology department, which has been there for about 10 years, which few people really know about, but it produced the most recent hire from Texas A&M Forest Service was Carlos Patlan. He's been with the service for about 6 months, but he graduated from that agroecology department, and he would be one that would be a part of this grant, helping out any cities that are taking on the request or the requirements. But just to be really clear, there is no cost to get these trees. The grant money pays for 100% of the cost of the trees. And there's cost if we want to pay somebody to install them. Our idea was we would have as many of the community members that were participating and have student projects that we're planting to try to reduce any contractual cost. If we wanted to hire out somebody to come and plant them, we could do that. The grant allows that. But we feel like that the more we have the community involved in planting those trees, instead of hiring out a contractor, the more the community feels that this project is a part of their efforts, and hopefully takes that ownership and that stewardship towards those trees. And this project will pay for irrigation to irrigate the trees. So this is another, I estimated we'd have at least $200,000 in irrigation. They require that it's water-wise irrigation. So they don't want to have rotors that are broadcasting water to trees. They would rather have drip or irrigation line that's coming with bubblers that distributes just the right amount of water to the root zones of the trees. Okay?
So where does this 11% come into play? I'm sorry, I just.
No, that is what they call the indirect cost. That's what Region 1, the state agency that I work with, that is their standard fee for administering and submitting any grant. That's what they.
Bottom line, and that's gonna be our cost, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the grant pays for that. That does not,
Okay.
it's a part
Wanted
of
to
the.
clarify that, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You said that Region One has the opportunity to find a grant writer to kind of manage this?
No, Region One would, I mean, Region One has a grant team.
Okay.
Dr. Jaime Kurtz is our grants director. So I've been working with Dr. Kurtz in Georgia and our grants writing team. Romalda Ruiz runs our business department, and she is the one that will have internal staff that takes the responsibility of doing all the documentation on all the accounting that comes through with all the reporting on the grant. And that's what those indirect costs cover.
I think it's a great deal. I'm just concerned, I guess, I mean, you've explained yourself very well, but I still have a lot of questions, really.
Okay.
I don't know that we can answer all those tonight, but, you know, if I could I just need to know what our cost is gonna be. What is it gonna cost our city to maintain these trees, to dig? I guess we have to, you know.
I'd like to see
plant
the
them.
MOU as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Maybe, let me kind of turn that around just a little bit. If, and look at it as an opportunity. If the city, I guess, if you all as a city don't really see the value, and that's not an internal goal for you all to really increase your tree canopy, then I will respect that. I don't, or I wish, and I could later try to persuade you to see a different value in planting trees in your community, but by no means do we want to put you in a position that is not one of your main focuses. This really is intended for communities and cities that really recognize and want to increase their tree canopy. And all of the critical greening communities, they are already very under-treed in canopy. And this grant is really designed to reduce heat, excessive heats that so much of that we have been experiencing with this weather. Are these weather extremes. Excuse me. So, and we could have, I mean, I really think this is a great opportunity to add to your investment on the land behind Stanky. That's the future outdoor learning center, nature park. I like throwing in the word the community forestry, that is a component, because I know that is incredibly important to the Texas A&M Forest Service, which, by the way, every state has their own Forest Service that works kind of under the United States Forest Service, and these funds are coming from the U.S. Forest Service to the individual states to meet the forestry needs of each state.
I don't think it's that we're not interested in this project and so forth. Like Mr. Lugo mentions, I think it's a great project. I just think we need more information.
Okay.
As to, you know, what the city is going to be responsible for. I love the fact that, you know, it's coming from a grant and so forth. But again, after 3 years and so forth, even in the first 3 years, you know, what is the city going to be responsible for? And after 3 years, you know, what's going to be our requirements to continue to be in compliance? So I really would like to see an MOU. I don't know if you have one or.
No, sir. I would be happy to, and the Forest Service has not given a template for an MOU. But reading through the grant, and I apologize for not bringing it, but do you have the readout, the last email that I sent you?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. But there was basically 8 main criterias, and it's however the city wishes to address those 8 main criterias. But the very first one is policy change, policy improvements towards tree care, towards enhancing community and urban forestry, which basically equates to how do you care for your trees? Do you have crews that go out and do any tree trimming on your existing trees in your parks?
We do.
So if you do, then have they been properly trained on arboring skills? And that is something that this grant pays for. We can train those crews on proper tree trimming techniques. Because there are definitely some really good techniques for trimming, and there are some really bad butchering techniques that don't really enhance the life of the trees.
They do a great job.
But I would, my recommendation at this point, just gauging on y'all's response, is that we could try to have a follow-up meeting in the next couple of days. And I would strongly encourage, I'll resend you all the grant. And as city commissioners, I would recommend just read it. Again, it's maybe 4 or 5 pages of what those expectations are. And then there's some definitives, but there's also a lot of room for your own creation and meeting your own needs and staying within your own comfort zone and within your own budget, but still improving awareness and management of your city trees. And just expanding tree canopy. So just from the fact of planting 3,000 trees within the city, you're already meeting one of their main goals. And they're just looking at, they want to make sure that if this grant pays for trees, that the trees have a really good chance of surviving. And what's the best way to do that is, to me, you make sure they get watered. And so if you're just identifying that we're going to make sure that somebody's dragging a hose, or we have irrigation systems that are functioning properly and that they're getting watered. But again, it's up to your own narrative. And thank you very much for y'all taking the extended time.
What is the deadline again to submit this grant application?
The extended date is March the 14th.
March 14th.
Yeah.
So we could discuss the next couple of days, Mayor, Councilman. We can revisit this on the next agenda. We still have plenty of time. They've done the majority of the work. Again, we're hopeful there was discussion because of the time. I think at this point, let's discuss it. But I want to be clear, now that he kind of clarified this next item, number 20, I don't-
That's really what we discussed is item
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, so item 20, Council, I don't think we need we can just table that, being that it's gonna be Region 1 who handles the grant. When I saw the 11%, I said, whoa, hold on, I think we need to look, but now that you've clarified that it's Region 1 that's going to take lead, they're gonna serve as the grant writers. They will be compensated for those efforts, the 11%.
Correct.
I don't think we need to advertise, I think Region 1 is the grant writer. You know, But,
Table both items.
I would say so, yes,
Get
sir.
more details, then bring it back up.
Yes, sir. Discuss a plan of action on how we're going to implement.
Maintain them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
sir.
Mr.
Thank you,
Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Need a motion to table 19, and then you can address number 20.
A motion to table 19, and then we'll do 20.
All right, there's a recommendation to table 19. Do we have a motion?
A motion to table item 19.
We had a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We got a recommendation to table number 20.
Motion to table item 20.
We got a motion to table item 20. Do we have a second?
Go ahead.
Second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 21, discussion and possible action on authorizing staff to advertise for A, regular unleaded fuel, B, highway diesel, C, synthetic motor oil, D, printers, E, janitorial supplies, and F, office supplies. Mr. Peña?
Mayor, council members, again, it's all part of the plan to decrease the amount of spending. So first and foremost, we don't have an assigned vendor for fuel and/or diesel or oil. We do go through quite a bit of fuel on both diesel and gas, especially now with the sanitation department taking off. One of the other findings that during my assessment is that there is some printers, big printers that are able to be used by most of the staff, but then we've also identified a lot of different individual printers in different departments. That gets costly when it comes to the ink and the toners. Also janitorial and office supplies, a lot of either we don't have a vendor that provides, so we're out there shopping around for different suppliers. I thought it would be best for the city that we advertise for the lowest, most cheapest vendor, right, for these supplies and centralize everything. And that way, we have one or two vendors that we can go to. So that's what we're doing on this one, sir, gentlemen.
You think there's a fee associated with securing one of these vendors, for example, for diesel or unleaded fuel?
No, sir, not at least what I've experienced in other governments. Again, it's a contract. For the diesel and the fuel, those prices vary. You don't lock that price down. Where you would lock the price down would be more for like the printers, janitorial, and office supplies.
Okay.
Again, it's just right now, we're having to get bids from different people every time he's got to fill up or he's got to add to his container.
Yeah, and it could be, I know, you know, I've got a diesel generator, and I, I need to do the same thing, actually. It's just, it's hard when you need it, so it's good to have a contract. So I think that's probably a good idea. I agree.
Thank you. And no different than the other one, Mayor, council members, we would be selecting the two lowest bidders. With respect to the fuel, right, I think that would be just the two vendors.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second, motion to approve. Yeah, got a second. Do we have, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We need a motion to go into executive session. Got a motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. It is 7:04. Pursuant to section 551.074 and section 551.071, we are now in executive session. It's 8:28. I need a motion to return from executive session. A motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Luo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now back in open session.
Mayor, with respect to item number 22, A and B, there's no action.
No action on A and B. Letter C, employment claims by H.M. Sanchez.
I'd like to motion to approve legal to proceed as discussed in executive session.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lugo. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That concludes items for our agenda for today, for tonight. I need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Garza. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Moreno. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.